Hello everybody, good morning. It is Coach Melissa here on a Monday, last Monday of October the 30th, another edition of Nutrition News. And today, what we're going to talk about is what is on your plate, what type of foods and when. So we're going to talk about like what you should eat and when and how much, because this is something that we get asked a lot in this facility is what should I eat and when should I eat it and how much should I eat. We just ended a 6-week transformation challenge, quite successful 6-week transformation challenge. And now a lot of our members, and there were 62 of them actually, are asking, for the next steps, what happens next? So this is how I'm going to address that and everybody else who might be wondering similar questions as well. So what should you eat and when? Pretty common question. And the way that we coach it here in the gym is we break it down into meals that are around your workout and meals that are not. So meals at every other time of the day. And I actually have lots of handouts. And I'm going to show you the handouts that I have, and I can link them as well in the comment when I'm done here. So first of all, let's talk about your post-workout meal. This should be your first meal after a workout, and ideally after an intense workout, because if you're going to be working out, especially here, high intensity interval training, you want to get the most out of your workout, and you want to make sure it is intense so that you are getting into that fat burning zone and burning as much fat as you can, especially as efficiently as you can, so as quickly as you can. So your post-workout meal is your first meal after an intense workout. Your post-workout meal should also be your largest meal of the day. After exercise, that's when you are depleting your energy, and that's how you should feel when it's over, is that you have depleted your energy, so you need to build that back up. And so ideally, the largest meal of the day will be your post-workout meal. For most people, the largest meal of the day is supper. And it's not always for most people their post-workout meal. And that's actually the way it should be to get best fat loss results, is that your post-workout meal is your largest meal of the day. You're going to want to eat more vegetables than fruit with this meal, and pretty much with every meal, because usually as a rule, veggies have more fiber in them. They have less sugar in them. They are slower to digest, so they will help you keep feeling fuller longer. You're going to want to choose mostly whole foods with minimal processing. And again, this is not just post-workout. This is all meals all the time. You're going to want to choose mostly whole foods with minimal processing having happened to them. And you're going to want to use portion control, which we'll talk about in a minute. But I'm going to show you just this little diagram of what your post-workout meal should look like. So you'll see that there's a whole lot of protein on that plate. There's some veggies on that plate, and there's also some starches over here. So those starches, those are kind of like your carbs. So in case you weren't able to see it, it says including potatoes, pasta, rice, or bread. This is the best time of the day to have those complex carbs, because your body needs that energy, and it's going to process it better post-workout than at any other time of the day. Right now, after your workout, your metabolism is higher. It's you're burning at a better rate than at any other time, especially because it was a HIIT workout. That's what HIIT training does. That's what high intensity interval training does. It puts your body into this afterburn state or effect, where your metabolism is higher, and you're better able to process any food that you put into it. Your body's better able to process it than at any other time of the day. So the best time to have those complex carbs is this time, because your body's going to process it, break them down, send them where they need to go, and utilize them better and more efficiently at that time than any other time of the day. So your protein could include meat, red meat, chicken, fish, eggs, different vegetarian sources, different dairy products like Greek yogurt, cottage cheese, and then you've got veggies and fruit on the other half of your plate as well, a wide variety of veggies, some fruit, lots of different colors, lots of different types, cooked in lots of different ways. And then, yeah, this is the best time of the day to have those complex carbs. And again, not a lot, and we'll talk about portion control again in a minute. So that is your post-workout meal. Okay, that's what your plate basically should look like. The rest of the time, or like meals that you haven't just had a workout, or days where you haven't just had a workout, we call these your anytime meal. So any time of the day. What does that plate look like? This is any meal not directly after a workout. It's got protein and veggies on it as well, and it's also got healthy fats. And the reason that we don't normally include healthy fats right after a workout is because they are not digested as well, it seems, after a workout. The carbs are better for after a workout. The healthy fats aren't as efficiently digested, and they're better for at other times of the day. Some tips around these meals, these anytime meals: eat slowly, so be conscious of your the time you spend eating this meal and your eating habits. Stop eating when you're satisfied, which could be very different than full. The definition of satisfied might be very different than full. So stop eating when you are satisfied, when you are no longer hungry. Choosing, again, mostly whole foods with minimal processing, and again, we'll pay attention to portion sizes, which we will talk about again in a minute. So the big difference here is the addition of the healthy fats and the subtraction of the carbs. Okay, so we don't have the carbs at this meal. We have healthy fats instead. And you'll notice the majority of the plate is still veggie based. You do have your protein, you do have your healthy fats. So what are healthy fats? These include things like avocado, healthy oils, so like coconut oil, which isn't too, like, there are some issues with the saturated fat in coconut oil, but coconut oil, olive oil, extra virgin olive oil, avocado oil, other things like nuts, seeds, nut butters, that kind of thing. And then again, your veggies and your protein. So that's the big difference, and that a lot of people ask, is between those two, the anytime meal and the post-workout meal. The post-workout meal is when you're going to want to have your biggest meal of the day, and when you're going to want to include those complex carbs, because your body needs and will benefit from that extra sugar and starch. But your body only needs so much sugar and starch to get through the day for your body's best interest, especially if you have a fat loss goal. And if you give your body a constant hit of sugar and starches, and it only needs to process so much through the day, then your body really has no choice but to store the rest of it, and it stores the rest of it as fat, and usually around your midsection or your upper back. And your midsection is not where you want to store fat. That is a dangerous place to store fat. That can lead to, down the road, to heart disease, type 2 diabetes, different situations like that. I also want to address plant-based eating, which a lot of people know better as vegetarian or vegan eating. So it's basically the same, just your protein is probably going to be made up more of plant proteins, beans, legumes, lentils, things like that. You've still got your veggies, you've still got your starches, and you know, different starches and for everybody, different starches can include sweet potatoes, fruit, whole grains, pasta, rice, and your fats. So you still have all of that. It's still the same idea. It's just your protein is coming most likely from different sources. The other thing too about plant-based eating is just to make sure that you are getting enough of all of your necessary vitamins, minerals, and supplements, specifically vitamin D and vitamin B12. Make sure you are getting enough of that, and if you're not sure, then you will want to chat about that with your doctor or your nutritionist. And I know that if you have a doctor here in town, or if you're a part of the family health team here in Goderich, then you have access to the nutritionist at the family health team as well. That is part of the family health team that, as a client there, you have access to. So please use them. That is what they're there for, to make sure that you are getting everything that you need. Okay, so let's talk about, so now we know what we should have on the plate. Let's talk about how much of it we should have on the plate. So when it comes to portion control, all of our new members, when they start here, they get this handy little guide in their orientation package. So I'm just going to break this down for you and go over it in a little bit greater detail. So this is the portion control guide, and it's not about calorie counting. We are not big on calorie counting here when it comes to portion control. We are more based on just good habits. And the habit that we use for this is using your hand. Your hand is really all you need when it comes to portion control. And your hand is proportionate to your body. Your hand size never changes and it's always with you. So this is really the perfect tool for measuring food and nutrients, minimal counting required. And this is good for just long-term, sustainable, good habits over time. So people with bigger bodies usually have bigger hands. So a child, for example, should not have the same portion as perhaps their grandfather has or their father has, or different members of different age brackets in their family. So your hand is proportionate to your body, and that matters when it comes to portion size. So a serving of protein is pretty much the size and thickness of the palm of your hand. So that's a good guideline for you when it comes to choosing, the meat that you're going to have on your plate. A lot of times, a lot of people often have a lot more than the size and thickness of the palm of their hand. So they're actually overeating when it comes to protein. And something else for women, everything I'm about to say is one. So one palm. For men, it's double. So for men, that would be two palms, and that carries on throughout. Okay, when it comes time to have veggies and portion controlling your veggies, it's about the size of a fist, so a closed fist. And obviously for men, that will be 2 fistfuls, or the size of your fist on your plate. So what does that translate to? It usually translates to about 3/4 of a cup to a cup of veggies. When it comes to your carbs, and this is a big one for a lot of people, this is a big moment for a lot of people of understanding. It's the size for women of 1 cupped handful, okay? And for men, yeah, that's 2. So those are your potatoes, your whole grains, your fruit, and that's like, so it's like 1 banana, 1 apple, 1 fruit most of the time, or if it's berries, then it's usually like half a cup of the smaller of the berries. But 1 cupped serving of cooked pasta, of cooked rice, anything like that. So I can imagine a lot of light bulbs are going off right now, because you think about, when you go to a restaurant or even just at home and you order pasta, or you get rice with your meal, it's often a lot more than that. So this could be where people are overeating too. And that's often where people start gaining when it comes to gaining fat, is because they're having way too many carbs that doesn't coincide with a fat loss goal. And also doing that outside of workout time. So not just after a workout, pretty much every time that they eat. So that's something to be mindful of as well. And then when it comes to healthy fats, a serving size for women is the size of your thumb. So when that comes to nuts, it's not the bag of nuts, everybody. It's like 8 to 10 almonds or something like that. When it comes to avocado, it's not the whole avocado. It's a few slices of avocado, that kind of thing. When it comes to oil or even salad dressing, it's like a teaspoon, maybe a tablespoon, but it's not, a 1/4 cup of salad dressing drenching your salad, or, oil, cooking in oil, that kind of thing. So again, for men, it's always double. Protein includes meat, fish, eggs, cottage cheese, Greek yogurt, that kind of thing. And of course, all of your plant-based sources as well. Veggies, lots of different colors, lots of different ways to cook them. Broccoli, spinach, carrots, different types of salad, that kind of thing. When it comes to your carbs, for men, it's 2 cupped handfuls. For women, it's 1. Grains, starches, beans, fruits, just different ideas there. And then your fats, so your oils, your butter, your nut butter, your nuts, your seeds, that kind of idea. So I hope that kind of helps get an idea of what your plate should look like. Okay, what should your plate look like, and then how much. It's not necessary, every day for months or for years to be counting calories. Some people, when they have a specific goal with a specific timeline, and often an aggressive goal, that's beneficial to them under, the watchful eye of a nutrition coach or a nutritionist. In my next life, I'm going to be a man. I know. I hear you, Kelly. And the other thing too, that since you bring that up about men, that a lot of people maybe don't know or understand is, the hormones that a man has in their body actually helps them to burn fat at a much higher rate. So men have higher rates of testosterone in their body, and higher rates of testosterone are correlated with higher rates of fat burning. So that's maybe just an aside or something that maybe you didn't know, but that is a reason why often when men start on a plan like this, they can see quicker results, or more drastic results, I guess I should say, right off the bat, because their testosterone hormones leads to, or helps with more and more efficient fat burning. But again, when it comes to long-term sustainable, no, you don't need to count calories. No, you don't need to weigh and measure your food. This is for people that have a very specific timed goal, often a fairly aggressive goal, like a big goal in a very short amount of time, or are part of a competition, or are part of a bodybuilding or a figure show, that kind of thing, where they need to be very specific and very exact. People that just want to look, feel, and perform better, this is where we start. Okay, this is where we start with looking at what's on our plate, when, and how much. Making sure that we are eating to the point of being satisfied, not over full. Eating when we're hungry, not when we are emotional or tired or stressed or sad or excited or bored, right? Eating when we're actually hungry to fuel the body, not for any of those other reasons. Yeah, so I hope that makes sense. I hope that helps to answer some questions. If you have more questions, please feel free to post them below, or to reach out to me here at the gym. I'm always here to help. I think that's all I needed to talk about as far as what's on your plate today. Oh, no, I knew there was something else. Something else to consider is the size of your plate. So one last tip is, a lot of people feel like they cannot see any white space in their plate. They're just not comfortable with that. They need to fill the plate, and then of course need to clean the plate. So a lot of people, when you're working on portion control, you're working on just trying to eat a little bit less at each meal so that you're not over full, try using smaller plates and fill those up. And that's often enough to trick the brain into thinking you're still eating the same amount when you're really not. And I know a lot of members here have had a lot of success with that tip right there. Get smaller plates. Don't use the big platter plates that a lot of dinnerware packages come from. Maybe try the salad plate instead and see if that is enough for you. It may mean you're eating a little bit more often. Maybe you won't be having 3 big meals throughout the day. Maybe you'll be having 5 or 6 throughout the day, but that's okay too, because it helps keep your blood sugar stable. It helps make sure that you're constantly putting food in there and not going too long between meals, because sometimes when you go too long between meals, then you get over hungry and you tend to binge on just anything you can see and eat until way past the point of being satisfied. You're way over full. And that's often too when you start making poor choices about what you should be eating when you go too long between meals. So I hope that was helpful, especially to those just finishing our 6-week challenge, which was awesome. We're having a big party Friday night at the Knights of Columbus Center here in Goderich, where we're going to announce the big winners and give away $500 for the top winner of that transformation challenge. We've got lots of prizes to hand out and a few special awards that we didn't tell anybody about. I guess until right now. So I'm excited for Friday night. We are starting a brand new month, which means it's time to set new goals in this facility. I look forward to hearing all about that from you, our members, in the next week or so. And tomorrow is Halloween. Happy Halloween to everybody. It is superhero day in this gym. Come dressed as your favorite superhero, or just come dressed in a costume. As long as you can work out in it, I'm happy. And remember, over the next week or so with Halloween, everything in moderation. Okay, Roxy, you're asking about tickets to the party. If you don't have one yet, then you can get a hold of Jill, our director of operations, and she will hook you up. If you have ordered one, they are here at the gym to be picked up. That's all I'm going to talk about today. I hope that was helpful. If anybody has any other tips, tricks when it comes to what's on your plate and or portion control, feel free to post them below. I will be back next Monday. Have a great day, everybody. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.